So why this COVID is affecting differently in different people?
Now the reason for that behind is that everybody is different. God has made us in a different way.
Once patient is sick as a serious, what next to be done, doctor?
So that's a very, very alarming situation for us.
Is there any breathing exercise remedy for lungs especially?
Patients who were admitted with us, we definitely recommended them breathing exercises.
What is the difference between oxygen concentrator and oxygen cylinder, doctor?
The oxygen concentrator runs on electricity.
Very good evening. அனைவருக்கும் வணக்கம். எனது பெயர் my name is Dr. Kanagaraj, BM Group and Radio Gilly chairman in Dubai. So last இப்போ பார்த்தா நிறைய பேருக்கு கோவிட் பேஷண்ட் வந்து நிறைய இடத்துல கோவிட் எஃபெக்ட் ஆகிருக்கு, எல்லாருமே உலகம் முழுவதும் வேர்ல்டு வைடு. ஸோ அந்த வகையில் வணிகம் குளோபல் பிஸ்னஸ் கனெக்டிவிட்டி அவங்க வந்து ஒரு கோவிட் அவேர்னஸ் வீடியோ வந்து எடுத்துட்ருக்காங்க. அந்த வகையில் வணிகம் வந்துட்டு பிஸ்னஸ் குளோபல் ரீதியாக பண்ணுறது இல்லாமல் ஒரு ஹெல்ப் பண்ணணும், நம்ம ஆளுங்களுக்கெல்லாம் சோசியலில் வந்து நிறையா ஒரு சர்வீஸ் பண்ணணும் அப்படின்னு சொல்லிட்டு அவங்க ஒரு இறங்கி அந்த வகையில் www.covidhelpcenter.in அப்படிங்கிற ஒரு வெப்சைட் ஓப்பன் பண்ணி அது மூலயமா நிறைய ஆளுங்களை வந்து இணைச்சி எந்தெந்த ஆளுங்களுக்கு என்னென்ன இடத்துல ஹாஸ்பிட்டல் அண்ட் ஆம்புலன்ஸ் அண்ட் ஆக்சிஜன், ஸோ இந்த மாதிரி நிறைய விஷயங்களை வந்து இதில் சேகரித்து பர்டிகுலர் பேஷண்ட்டை வந்து நிறைய பேர்த்த காப்பாற்றிக்கிட்டு இருக்காங்க. ஆல்மோஸ்ட் நம்ம வந்து ஒரு 500 பீப்புளுக்கு மேலே வந்து நம்ம நிறைய பேரை சேவ் பண்ணியிருக்கோம். இன்னைக்கு இந்த கோவிட் ஹெல்ப் சென்டர் அப்படிங்கிற ஒரு வெப்சைட் ஆரம்பித்து அது மூலயமா நிறைய பேர் வந்துட்டு ஒரு ஒரு ஹாஸ்பிட்டலில் வந்து இப்போ நிறைய பேர் அமௌண்ட் எல்லாம் வச்சுருக்காங்க, ஆனால் எங்கெங்கே என்னென்ன ஃபெசிலிட்டிஸ் இருக்குன்னு தெரியாது. ஸோ அவங்களுக்கு வந்து சரியான ஒரு ட்ரீட்மெண்ட் எங்கே கிடைக்கும், எங்கே பெட்டு கிடைக்கும், எங்கே ஆக்சிஜன் கிடைக்கும், எங்கே ஒரு சரியான டாக்டர்ஸ் இருக்கிறாங்க, எந்த இடத்துல இருந்து நமக்கு வந்து அவங்க உயிரை காப்பாற்றுறதுக்கு ஒரு சரியான ஒரு இடத்த வந்து இந்த வணிகம் கோவிட் ஹெல்ப் சென்டர் வந்து ரொம்ப சப்போர்ட் பண்ணுது. அந்த வகையில் இது ஒரு அவேர்னஸ் வீடியோ நம்ம வந்து எடுத்துகிட்டு இருக்கோம். துபாயிலேருந்து இன்னைக்கு வந்து நான் உங்களுக்கு எல்லாருக்கும் வந்து எஃபெக்ட், இந்த கோவிட் எஃபெக்ட் வந்துட்டு லங்ஸை தான் வந்து பாதிக்குது அதிகமாக எல்லாருக்குமே. ஸோ அந்த வகையில் எனக்கு தெரிஞ்ச நம்மளோட டாக்டர் சுனிலை வந்து நான் இது மூலயமா இன்னைக்கு வந்து அவேர்னஸ் வீடியோவில் வந்து அவரை வந்து நான் இன்னைக்கு இன்வைட் பண்ணியிருக்கேன். அவர் வந்து ஒரு ஸ்பெஷாலிஸ்ட்டு, ஆன்மாலஜிஸ்ட்டு, அவர் வந்து லங்ஸோட ஸ்பெஷாலிஸ்ட்டு, எல்லாமே வந்து நல்ல ஒரு டீட்டெயிலாக அவர் வந்து இங்கே பண்ணிட்டு இருக்காரு. ரொம்ப வருஷமாக ஒர்க் பண்ணிட்டு இருக்காரு. ஆஸ்டர் ஹாஸ்பிட்டல் அல்குசேஸ் துபாயில் வந்து இருக்குது. வெல்கம் டாக்டர். ஃபர்ஸ்ட் ஆஃப் ஆல் I want to ask you, first, I have many questions. So I will ask you the COVID-19 symptoms, sir. How is the symptoms? Just to explain, sir.
Yeah, good evening all. Thank you, Dr. Kanagaraja, for inviting me on this awareness video. So I am Dr. Sunil. I am working as a specialist pulmonologist in Aster Hospital, Kisses. And for the last 1.5 years, I've been seeing COVID patients in the outpatient as well as the inpatients. So coming to COVID-19, the most commonest symptoms of COVID-19 are fever in more than 90% of patients. Secondly is throat pain, headache, to start with cough, to go extend up to shortness of breath. Then there are a lot of patients who complained of loss of taste, loss of smell. Even loose stools is also a symptom of COVID-19. So you name them, and almost each and every organ of the body COVID can affect. We have seen a lot of patients coming with increased heart rate, reduced heart rate. That means COVID affecting the heart. We have seen a lot of patients coming with neurological problems. That means it's affecting the brain. So you name the organ and you can have symptoms arising from COVID.
Okay, sir. Thank you so much. And also, it's how is affecting in the lungs, sir? How is affecting to the lungs?
Yeah, so as almost everybody knows about it, that once the COVID enters through the nasal route, it reaches the throat, and from the throat it goes to the windpipe, and from the windpipe it starts affecting the lung. So that is how the portal of entry is, and that is how it travels to the lung. And once it reaches the lung, it creates an immune response in our body. So our body basically is trying to fight the virus. we also our body is made in such a way that we want to fight any other foreign invasion or any infection which is entering our body. So during the fighting of that body against the virus, there are a lot of immune cells which are released. Some inflammatory responses happen, because of which the lung starts getting affected. Once the lung starts getting affected, the patient starts developing cough as well as breathing difficulty, and that leads to reduced oxygen. And in majority of the cases, what we are seeing, the deaths which are happening is because of the damage to the lung because of COVID. So it becomes of paramount importance for us as doctors as well as for other people to create awareness that is there any possibility by which we can halt the progression of COVID going from the nose and reaching the lung.
Okay, sir. This COVID is affecting the body. We know that first of all, this body is affecting or is going to directly to the lungs.
Yeah, so it affects the body first. It enters, as I told, as it enters the nose first. Then it will cause an immune response, saying that it will lead to leading to fever. Then it causes headache. It causes a lot of body pain. It causes muscle pain, and then along with that, it can lead to causing common cold like flu-like features like running nose, nasal blockage, all those things. And then followed by that, it leads to causing problem to the leading to the throat pain, and then going to the windpipe and then affecting the lung.
Great, doctor. So also I have another question. So why this COVID is affecting differently in different people?
Yeah, that's a very good question, because we can see that in a same family, some person will be very sick, requiring oxygen, getting admitted in the hospital. The same family member might be just quarantining at home and just staying without much of symptoms. Now, the reason for that behind is that everybody is different. God has made us in a different way. So our immune response to the infection is also different. So somebody who has a very high immune response, that means he is trying to fight more against the virus, becomes more sick compared to the person whose immune response is not very high. So in other words, in scientific words, we can say if it's a hyperimmune response, the chances of patient becoming sick is very high.
Oh, okay, doctor. But doctor, one thing, this once patient is sick as a serious, what next to be done, doctor?
Yeah, so once we know that when the patient has become COVID positive and he's having fever, cough, and we start treatment, we have seen suddenly patients becoming very sick and requiring oxygen, and their oxygen requirements become worse drastically over 24 hours. So that's a very, very alarming situation for us. So what I have seen in my personal experience is that once a patient becomes COVID positive, at the end of the first week and the beginning of second week of his symptoms are the most crucial time. So that is the time when we have to keep in mind, from the day 5 of being positive till day 8 or 9 are the most crucial period where patient can become very sick. Once he becomes if somebody is continue to have fever beyond 5 days, it is a worrying sign for us. So that should alarm the patient that his fever is not subsiding despite of taking adequate medication. That means that patient, there is a high chance that patient will become sick, and so he needs to consult the doctor again if the fever is not subsiding beyond 5 days, or if there is any worsening of symptoms compared to what he had before, then he should definitely consult the doctor, and hospitalization should be advised at that moment of time.
Doctor, how to prevent the COVID, doctor?
Yeah. Now, to prevent COVID, there has been a long-term campaign. Everybody has been wearing masks for the last 2019 February itself. We have not been able to see anybody's face except the Zoom calls and the Zoom meetings. So, mask is a mandatory, because we know that the portal of entry for the virus is through the nose. So we need to wear mask. Second has been social distancing. The more distance we need, because there has been proven reports that it is a droplet infection. So somebody sneezing, somebody coughing on some nearby, and if you're not wearing a mask, you can get the infection. So wearing a mask, then leading to social distancing. And the third most important thing is hand sanitization. Keeping your hands clean, washing your hands regularly, maintaining good hygiene. All those things play a very, very important role in preventing COVID.
Okay, doctor. Thanks. So, of course, everybody's keep distance and all. However, and also, doctor, how this vaccination is prevent the COVID, doctor?
Yeah. So there are studies. There are various countries which have taken, which have gone for an aggressive vaccination drive. UAE is one of those countries which has aggressively vaccinated their people. So that has also helped in reducing the number of cases in UAE. So we have seen with our experience that the number of cases were very high when vaccination was not that great. But once the vaccination drive was aggressively done and lot more people were vaccinated, the incidence came down. As well as so there are other countries like Israel and various other countries where more the vaccination has happened, the number of cases have come down. So it has been proven to reduce transmission as well as reduce the caseload.
Okay, doctor. Thank you. And also, are there long-term effects on lungs, doctor?
Yeah, so that's a very frequent and a very good question. All the patients want to know about this who have been suffering from COVID. Whether post-COVID, once they recover from COVID, whether they will continue to have lung damage. So what we have understood is that majority of the patients, more than probably 80% of the patients do not have any, or 80 to 90% patients do not have any long-term effects on lung. There is a very, very small subgroup of patients who have underlying lung issues, who had underlying lung problems. Probably their problems might get aggravated, or that their problems might get prolonged for a few months. For example, a patient with asthma who has asthma but not requiring much of treatment prior to COVID. Once he has COVID, post-COVID, his asthma can worsen and he may require treatment for a longer time for the complaints of asthma.
Okay, that's I have a little few questions only. So
Yeah.
this is for awareness for every people are very important. And also, what are the side effects of the steroids, doctor?
Yeah, as we know, all around, especially in India, there's a lot of hue and cry regarding giving more of steroids. So steroids definitely make a drastic difference in the treatment of COVID. Once you start steroids, you definitely get great improvement in managing COVID. But it has to be judiciously used. It should not be used for each and every patient who requires that. Who requires each and every patient of COVID does not require steroids. So steroids are used generally when patients are having fever beyond 5 days, or patients who are requiring oxygen, who are having excessive cough, who are having pneumonia on the lung X-ray. Then only steroids should be used. So just using steroids for other purposes will lead to a lot of side effects. Specifically in patients who have diabetes, there's an added risk factor that because of steroids, the sugars will go up, and that is the reason why they develop other secondary infections like the fungal infection, which we are seeing in India, black fungus, which is causing, because it's a combination of both excessive use of steroids probably, and along with underlying conditions of diabetes.
Okay, sir, doctor, great. Is there any breathing exercise remedy for lungs, especially?
Yeah, breathing exercises are recommended in any patients with COVID. We generally, patients who are requiring oxygen, who have breathing difficulty, we ask them to sleep on their stomach. That is called as the prone position. So we have found out that prone position helps in improving oxygenation. So that is also one of the exercises which we recommend. We recommend a lot of breathing exercises. We recommend a lot of incentive spirometry exercises, because these have been proven to be beneficial in improving the oxygen levels in the patient, as well as in overall getting better patients to get early discharge from hospital.
Okay, doctor. So there is already the COVID patient is there, but is the breathing exercise helping for him, the patient with the COVID?
Yes, definitely. Breathing exercises help, and patients who were admitted with us, we definitely recommended them breathing exercises. We don't recommend it anybody who is on very high flow oxygen, but requiring less oxygen, definitely we would advise them to go for breathing exercises. Awake proning, sleeping on the stomach for more than 15 to 16 hours, definitely yes, we would recommend that.
Doctor, I have one more question. I have a few questions. What is the difference between oxygen concentrator and oxygen cylinder, doctor?
Yeah, that's also a very important and interesting question. There are a lot of oxygen concentrators being used because the excess patient load which was there on hospitals. So when their oxygen requirements were reducing, patients were being discharged with oxygen at home. and there was a lot of oxygen shortage also. So at this moment of time, what we are looking at is we are looking at oxygen concentrator. Oxygen concentrator runs on electricity, and the advantage of oxygen concentrator is that it has wheels and it can be moved around in the house where you are. So it's not like a static thing. So you can use it. You can go to the washroom. You can go to other rooms by using oxygen concentrator. Whereas oxygen, but the disadvantage of an oxygen concentrator is you can give only up to 5 liters per minute of oxygen. There are few oxygen concentrators which have come from China, which can give up to 10 liters of oxygen. But with the oxygen cylinder, the advantage is that you can go up to maximum of 15 liters of oxygen. Like just like similar to any other hospital supply, you can give up to 15 liters of oxygen. But the disadvantage with the cylinder was that you need to get it refilled again and again, just like any other cylinder. Whereas an oxygen concentrator, you don't need to get it refilled. So where there are no problems of electricity, especially in a country like India where there is some issues with electricity, so oxygen concentrator may work, may not work, because once the electricity goes, you won't get any oxygen.
Okay, doctor. There is, now the situation in India. So there is first COVID and second wave and like that. So now, will there be third wave of COVID, and will it affect the children, doctor?
Yeah. So till now, what we have looked at in the first and second wave, we have not found out any serious infections affecting the children in the first and second wave. But COVID is a very difficult virus for us to treat. So there are numerous variants. So at this moment of time, it is very difficult to say that is there going to be a third wave? Probably yes, probably no. We don't know yet. And whether it will affect children, whatever evidence we have now, it looks very less chance that it will affect the children. But I feel that every country now should be ready for any other eventuality, for any other third wave, and specifically India because of its large population. So there are a lot of vaccines which are going to come into the market, which will be able to vaccinate children, like the Pfizer vaccine. All those, they have been approved about 12 years of age. The Moderna vaccine is saying that in younger children also they can give the vaccine. So I think once the vaccine comes, it's always advisable to vaccinate all children to avoid any other further. But at this moment of time, it looks very unlikely.
I see, doctor. Thank you. And also, what is the plasma treatment COVID?
Yeah. So plasma treatment means any patient who had COVID and then has cured of COVID, he has developed antibodies in his body against the COVID virus. So if he donates blood and you collect plasma from that blood, you can give it to any COVID patient for treatment. That is what the basis of the plasma treatment was. But over a period of time, there were a lot of studies, a lot of trials, a lot of patients were tried over it. But plasma has not been found to be effective in completely curing any COVID patient. So in my personal experience, I would suggest that plasma therapy should not be considered. And there are other treatment modalities which should be considered, because plasma therapy can also lead to some side effects and adverse reactions. So in my personal experience, I would not suggest anybody to go for a plasma.
This how to prevent the black fungus.
Yeah, black fungus is a fungus called by the name of mucormycosis. So this fungus was there before also. It's not like it's a new thing which has come after COVID. Mucormycosis we were seeing in patients with diabetes, with a lot of other conditions where patients were taking cancer treatment, all sorts of transplant patients, we were seeing this fungus. But now what we are seeing more with COVID is because of the use of steroids, as well as uncontrolled infection, as well as because of uncontrolled diabetes. All these things pose a risk factor for black fungus. Now, how to prevent it? Is to look at the signs. If somebody is on steroid and has diabetes, to control the diabetes well. First is, then the second is those patients who do not require unnecessary steroids. The steroid should be stopped immediately, not to be prolonged steroid use. Third is to look for any secondary infection. Anybody who is looking like improving from COVID, but still having fever and other blood tests showing infection, we should always immediately prompt to look and identify the black fungus.
So last one more question. So what are the various myths recorded for the COVID?
Yeah, so there are a lot of myths. You can see there's a lot of information out there on the net, as well as people circulating messages on WhatsApp, Facebook, all these social media platforms. But I would request all the patients, anybody who is, even the relatives of patients who are suffering from COVID, try to get authentic information. Try to get authentic information from doctors, from people who are expert in those areas, who have worked in those areas. Organizations like WHO, the Government of India Health website, various other websites, various hospital websites, various other guidelines. Don't fall into prey of all these fake messages which come on social media. Don't believe all those messages. Don't believe that this treatment, that treatment will be very beneficial. Stick to what your treating doctor is trying to do. Don't try to juggle here and there and make your own perceptions. So that is an humble request to all the people out there, that don't fall into false, fake messaging from the social media platforms. Trust your doctors, trust the scientific evidence behind this, and please follow that and try to get vaccinated as much as possible.
So thank you so much for your valuable time today you are spending with us. And this is once again from this COVID Help Center. Doctor, thank you so much to your participating with this COVID Help Center. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Most welcome. Thank you.